All right, let's set the scene. The year is 331 BC. Out on a massive, dusty plain, two of the ancient world's heaviest hitters are about to collide. You've got Alexander the Great of Macedon on one side, and on the other, Darius III, the mighty king of kings of Persia. What we're about to break down is the story of Gaugamela, the one battle that was going to decide the fate of an entire empire. Okay, so let's just dive right in and get a look at the numbers here because they are staggering. The Persian army, pulled from every corner of its huge empire, was more than double the size of Alexander's crew. I mean, on paper, this looks like a complete and utter slaughter. The odds against Alexander? They weren't just bad, they were overwhelming. And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How on earth did this happen? Let me tell you, it wasn't just a fluke. This was a lethal combination of incredible discipline, wild innovation, and frankly, one of the most ridiculously gutsy battle plans ever dreamed up. Now, to really get this plan, you have to understand the place. See, Darius didn't just stumble upon this battlefield. Oh no, he had it engineered, custom built for one single, brutal purpose: to completely wipe Alexander's army off the map. Yeah, this was no ordinary patch of dirt. Darius's men literally worked to make this plain perfectly flat, clearing out every shrub, every little hill. And why? To create a superhighway for his two biggest weapons, his enormous cavalry force and his absolutely terrifying scythe chariots. They needed that smooth ground to build up speed and be effective. He wasn't just preparing a battlefield, he was setting a massive trap. So let's look at the actual pieces on the board here. What were the key units each of these kings brought to the fight? What were the tools they were about to use to try and destroy each other? On Alexander's side, you've got this professional, well-oiled machine. You have the elite companion cavalry, the super dependable Thessalians, and the heart and soul of the army, the Sarissa phalanx. The Persians, though, they were all about sheer numbers. They had cavalry from all over, Scythia, Parthia, tons of infantry, and even a bunch of Greek mercenaries. It was just a huge, diverse, colossal force. And this right here, this was Alexander's ace in the hole, the phalanx. Seriously, just try to imagine a moving wall of 18-foot pikes, like a giant, angry metal hedgehog. Now, it was slow, and if you got it on the sides, it was in trouble. But from the front, it was an almost unstoppable wall of death. Pretty much everything Alexander did was designed to protect this thing and let it go to work. Okay, the stage is set, the battle kicks off. But Alexander doesn't just yell, "Charge," and run straight into the Persian meat grinder. Nope, he does something weird, something nobody saw coming. And here it is, the plan, an absolute four-part masterpiece of misdirection. Instead of going straight, Alexander starts marching his entire army diagonally to the right. This forced the much longer Persian line to stretch out and shift to keep up with him. He was using their own massive size against them, trying to pull them apart until something snapped. And believe it or not, the Persians took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. The guy commanding their left flank, Bessus, sees Alexander moving right and starts to panic, thinking he's about to be outflanked. So what does he do? He starts moving his own cavalry to match, pulling them farther and farther away from Darius and the center of the Persian army. Step 1, a total success. So with the Persian line stretched thin and totally in motion, the center of this battle is about to just explode. This is the moment where the whole plan depends on the sheer, iron-willed discipline of Alexander's men as they're staring down absolute terror. Darius decides it's time to unleash his superweapon, those scythed chariots. But you see, the Macedonians had drilled for this. In this incredible display of pure discipline, the flanks just opens up. They create these channels, and the chariots just race harmlessly through them, only to get picked off from the sides. But as the flanks kept pushing forward, they walked straight into a storm of arrows from the Persian archers, and they started taking some serious hits. And then, this is the moment, the key to the whole thing. With Bessus' cavalry way out on the left and the Persian center moving up to fight the phalanx, a hole opens up, a gap, right next to Darius himself. This was the exact crack in the armor that Alexander had been trying to create for this entire battle. Alexander doesn't hesitate for a second. He swings his elite companion cavalry into a wedge formation and just plows right into that gap, aiming straight for Darius. The Persian center, now under unbelievable pressure, just starts to fall apart. And then, the unthinkable happens. Darius, the king of kings, turns tail, and flees for his life. Now, you'd think the king running away would be the end of it, right? Battle over. But on the other side of the field, a totally different story was playing out. This fight was far from finished. I mean, just look at this contrast. It's wild. While the Persian left and center are basically in a full-blown panic, running for the hills, the Persian right wing is absolutely crushing the Macedonian left. Alexander's trusted general, Parmenion, is in deep, deep trouble. His men are surrounded and they're about to be wiped out. So here it is, the critical decision. Alexander literally has Darius in his sights. If he catches him, the war is over, right then and there. But then he gets a desperate message from Parmenion. In a moment that really shows you who he was as a leader, he gives up the glory of capturing the king and wheels his cavalry around to go save his guys. Alexander's cavalry comes smashing into the rear of that victorious Persian right flank, and it completely shatters their morale. That finally ends the battle. And when all the dust finally settled, the scale of what had just happened was, well, it was almost unbelievable. The Macedonians, who faced an army more than twice their size, who were almost broken on one side of the battlefield, suffered what modern historians think was around 1,500 casualties. Now, that's a heavy price, for sure, but for a battle of this scale, it's remarkably low. And the Persians, well, their army was simply annihilated. We're talking an estimated 40,000 men killed or captured. It was a tactical masterpiece that ended in one of the most lopsided victories you'll ever see. Gaugamela didn't just win a battle, it effectively shattered the Persian Empire and cemented Alexander's name in legend forever. But it leaves us with this huge, timeless question. When you're facing overwhelming odds, can a brilliant plan, executed with perfect discipline, really make the impossible possible? I think if Gaugamela could talk, it would scream yes.